All right, we are live. Got Mr. Rocky Road right here.
Hey
Ch-
guys.
Check out that sweet background he's got right there. You guys noticing that? He's got the red toe hooks. You already got a TRX back there, it looks like.
Yep. It's missing a little SRT emblem right there, on the bottom corner, but we're there in a couple cylinders and a supercharger.
You could put one there in a boom box to make it sound like a V8.
Yep.
That's cool. Well, hey, I just let you guys know I'm feeling a little under the weather, so I might sound a little bit silly and congested here. But we wanted to get together. Rocky and I wanted to talk about our perspectives and experience with owning a decent amount of vehicles, but specifically around the Raptor and Raptor R and the RHO. And I feel like you've got like such a fun way to explain where you came from and where you're back at. I don't know if many people know this, Rocky. Just jump in and tell. Because actually, first, did you have a TRX back in the day?
Yeah, so I had one of the first 2021 TRXs that rolled off the line. I loved the truck. Actually had it for a couple weeks, and somebody wanted it a lot more than I did, so the dealer actually purchased it back, and they needed it for some show or something. And anyway, I missed that truck. It was probably one of my favorite trucks that I had. But I had campers and RVs, so I kind of had to, always have the HD. And so it was kind of a short period of having that truck, and man, I just loved it. And anyway, I got rid of my HD purpose. I don't have big camper anymore or anything, and man, just love driving this RHO daily.
That's what I say. People don't realize, you and I both came from 2,500, 3,500 HD trucks pulling fifth wheels, heavy travel trailers, where you need a heavier truck. And now that neither of us are pulling that, we can get away with half tons, and it's just fun. And I wanted you to dive into your experience in the last 6 months specifically. So you had an RHO, right? You got rid of it. What did you go to then?
Okay, so I'll tell you a quick story, and this is what got me on the RHO. So there was a Chrysler dealer that went out of business in San Antonio, and the local dealer I had, I actually had a 1 ton 3500 loaded to the gills, ordered, and it was taking a little while for it to deliver. And so I told the local dealer, I was like, I walked by and they had a black RHO. I mean, it's just a good looking truck. And I walked by it like 3 times doing videos on the lot, and I was like, I really like that truck. And we had a road trip coming up, and I was like, I'm gonna I'm gonna buy that truck. And I told the dealer, I said I just wanted it, I was gonna buy it for a month or two to do content until my 1 ton came in. And anyway, so I took delivery of my 1 ton and I drove it for about 2 or 3 weeks. But after having this truck for that temporary period of time, I called my dealer back and I said, and I think the GM was actually driving it as a demo at the time. And I told the GM, I said, you're gonna have to get your stuff back out of my truck because I'm coming to get it. And I don't think that I've ever had a truck that I really just
Had to get
enjoyed
it back.
driving more than that truck ever. And so
Yep.
I went back to the dealer. I traded the 1 ton back in. They gave me my money back on it. Got back in the RHO, and that's kind of where I've been. And
Yep.
that 25 RHO, I put almost 30,000 miles on it, and it was some of the best family road trips. My family said that it was one of the most comfortable trucks. I mean, just power, fuel efficiency, everything across the board.
So, okay, so you got it back at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Then you called me and said, what did you want to do then? You said, Barry, I want something else. Because you didn't want to wait for a TRX.
Right. So then I got the itch, and I was like, okay. I said, I was looking at ours, but I wasn't going to pay this $20,000 or $30,000 markup. And I went to a few dealers that had them in stock, and I mean, they were just firm on it. And I really wanted to try the R. I wanted to go back to that V8. I kind of missed it a little bit, and I was like, I want that V8 sound. And so I called Barry and I was like, hey, you had an R. What are your thoughts? And you kind of told me that you enjoyed it. It was really nice. And, but you kind of fell back to the RHO. You already had your RHO ordered with Mark Dodge at the time, and you were going back into the RHO. You were replacing I guess your 25 with a 26 also.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, all right. So I'm going to try to find this R, because the TRX just seemed like they weren't even talking about it anymore. It was just like there was no deadline, no date or anything. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to pick up an R. And so I called Barry, talked to him, and he said he liked the truck. So I was okay. I'm going to pick one of those up. And I found a dealer that made a pretty good deal on one, and I picked it up, and that's where it started.
So let's start with this. What did you think of your Raptor R? What, and I'll go into my thoughts on it.
Okay. So went and picked it up. I bought it in Spring, Texas. Dealer made me a pretty good deal. And, initially driving it, I mean, the Recaros in it were pretty comfortable. It didn't have the massage seats. Was one of those things that I kind of really wanted was the massage seats because, coming from the RHO, I really wanted that feature.
Yep.
But the Recaros were very comfortable. And the truck drove well, but it kind of drove like my Fords have all driven. I mean, they just require a little more input more frequently, I guess is the best way to say that. Um, the power on that thing is just crazy, and the two-wheel drive is a lot of fun. And I'll give it to the Raptor being able to put it in two-wheel drive and having the 5.2 liter and being able to get the fuel efficiency that you get out of that. It definitely beat the TRX in that category. And the selectable exhaust was something I really liked. It was nice to be able to put that thing in quiet
Yes.
and you didn't wake the neighbors up. And a lot of people
Yep.
don't know in the settings, you can put silent mode from certain times to certain
Yep.
times. So I could set it to where after midnight till 8 in the morning, if you start it, it's in silent mode. And guys, this thing's
Mhm.
as quiet as a little car starting up next to you, right? And then
Yep.
you can put it in whatever mode you want and just knock that drone out, because on those long road trips, those V8s do have that drone that just does get irritating after about an hour. And man, you could just push that silent button and it's like, boop, it just goes away, So
Yep.
that some features that I really liked. And we'll get more into the video of kind of the drive and stuff, but I just kind of want to answer that for you.
Sure. Well, so when you talk about power, I'm curious what you thought about the power, because from my experience, the Raptor R was the most unique V8 that I've ever owned. It's different. The way this thing makes power, um, it feels very docile. Honestly, if you drive it normal, it feels very normal.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that above 5,000 RPMs, it pulls so hard
Mm-hmm.
right to red line. The TRX, I like the TRX, but I don't get that same of the stock TRXs I've driven. I haven't driven the new one, but the old ones, 21 to 24, they hit really hard, but then it feels like it kind of falls on its face. Like the higher RPMs, it hits like 5,000, kind of signs off 5,500. But the Raptor R to me pulls a lot harder at the higher RPMs, where the TRX hits a little harder down at the bottom. Did you feel that too? I'm just curious.
Yeah, and I'll get into a little bit of the tech stuff with it. I'm gonna say this. If I was looking at the standard Raptor and looking at the Raptor R, the thing I would like about the standard Raptor more is it has that low end torque. When you're taking off from a light, it doesn't take much acceleration. That 3.5 EcoBoost is
It's
gone.
on the
Like
power.
it just
Yeah.
runs.
Yep.
Okay. And what I guess a lot of people miss is the R is a really, like, it's going to provide you an experience of pulling in your seat like no other. Okay. But that's a race car motor in that
Yes.
truck. Okay. That
Yep.
5.2 Predator, if you take the supercharger away from a 5.2, when you're running around town, you're not even running 1 pound of boost. You're running pretty
Yep.
much in vacuum. And so that 5.2 with a full size truck with 37s on it, it just is a little bit docile in that slower speeds.
Yep.
Okay. So it's like you're either going to kind of drive it and it feels a little bit underpowered, but the power's there, but it's not like it's like you either have the low power
Yeah.
or you're in it and it's real power. I mean, there's two pieces, and it's just like not a lot of middle ground. And I
Yeah.
think, like I said, if you take the 5.2 and you pull the supercharger off, it's a little bit underpowered because you're not really running boost. Supercharger's not doing anything in city driving. And then if you look at the 6.2, which is in like your Escalades, your GMs, all the gas engines, without that supercharger, the 6.2 provides a little bit more juice in that low
Agreed.
end, with
100%.
no boost. And
Yep.
so, but again, the downside of that is when it's sitting there idling, that 6.2 has got a whole other liter. It's drinking fuel,
Yeah.
right? And so,
Absolutely.
I think Ford really captured that with the two-wheel drive, with the efficiency, because I mean, we went on a road trip with that truck and we were getting 16, 15 and a half
See
running,
that, dude, that's as good as an RHO.
running 75, 80 miles an hour. Now that's a road trip, just flat
Yeah.
out running down the highway. That's no
Yeah.
city driving. Now you take
Yep.
city driving and plug that in. Of course, any supercharged V8,
9.
doesn't matter what brand you buy, that's out the wayside. You're probably looking at 7 to 9 miles to the
Yep.
gallon, right? So you can
Yep.
run those two numbers together. But I was very impressed with its fuel economy. I was very impressed with a lot of things about the truck. But we'll get into more of the other stuff in the video too, the drive and stuff like that.
Sure. Well, it's funny you mentioned the power because the EcoBoost, if if you take out exhaust sound, if you just drive both Raptor and Raptor R the
Mm-hmm.
same, I swear the Raptor R feels stronger under 2,500 RPMs than Raptor R. I think it's because it just gets on the boost a little quicker than the Raptor R, but at the higher RPMs, it's such a difference. I mean, it just destroys the EcoBoost. And I'd have to say, when I had my Raptor R, I loved it. That I actually, to be fair, probably my biggest complaint about the Raptor R was it was too docile and too quiet. That's what I like about the TRX. It's a little rowdier. You hear more supercharger whine, more exhaust sound, more kind of punch you in the face acceleration at instant hit of that pushrod V8, the 6.2. But what I like about the RHO with the high output Hurricane, it's the closest engine I've driven in a normal domestic vehicle that feels it builds power like the Raptor R. Like, I don't know how to explain this. This thing has much, in my opinion, I think it's got stronger. I don't know if I want to call it low end, but at like 2,500 RPM range, it feels a little more manageable. You know what I'm talking about, Rocky? I don't know if it's the gearing and the transmission, but the RHO just feels a little stronger on the highway in that speed, believe it or not, than Raptor R. But that high RPM pull, the high output Hurricane pulls at the high RPMs like the Raptor R. They have that same, they don't sign off at the top. Whereas like when I look at the Hellcat 6.2 stock, or when I look at a stock Raptor, those two make power very similar. They hit hard at the bottom and they sign off at the top.
Yeah, I agree. And the Raptor to me just, I think today, if I was choosing between those trucks, if you look at the price of the standard Raptor and the Raptor R, I'm going to buy the Raptor with the EcoBoost. It's just my preference.
Wow.
Over the R, and it's just because I like that city driving. I like that low end torque. And in comparison to the RHO is 90 more horsepower than that Raptor.
Yep.
And that inline six just provides that low end torque with the boost that these high outputs make. And, to have a truck like this that has 35s on its stock that gets 16, 17 miles to the gallon. And, the difference is when I'm in this truck and I'm idling in town, there's no parasitic load on it. And it's just a little inline 3-cylinder.
Yeah.
I can sit in car lines at schools and, it just doesn't burn any fuel. And like you said, that low end torque, I'm a diesel guy. I've been in diesel since I was in high school. And for me to move from a diesel to a gas engine, I've always bought a gas truck and it's a short period of time. And then I'm back in a diesel. Right. And I feel like the low end torque and the high boost that these make at that lower RPM. I mean, that's why this thing's shifting at 1,800 or 2,100 RPM. I mean, it's not one of those vehicles that's revving way up. I mean, if you get in it, it does, but it doesn't need to. It has the power.
Feels like a miniature Cummins in a way, the way the torque converter lockup. I noticed the first to second shift and second to third shift when you drive it normal auto mode, you have torque converter lockup. It doesn't flare up and you can just feel the engine bear down and just build boost. And it reminds me just like my Cummins.
Yeah. And usually I would say the 8-speed, like I think it's a fair comparison with the 8-speed in this truck to the 10-speed. I've had Fords and, you have a little shift flare, that 3/4 shift flare in the Super Duties, you have the F-150s that have it, but on the R, they got that 10-speed right.
100%.
I mean, it is the smoothest shifting. Dude, 100%. If it goes from 8th to 9th and 10th on the highway, if you're running, you don't even feel it. Like it's unreal. You look down it because you have to have the shift indicator on, but you look down, and that's one thing I'll say about both of these trucks, this 8-speed and this RHO, same thing. I mean, just the 8-speeds have always been right on the Ram. Even with the 5.7s,
for sure,
with the Hurricanes,
Eco Diesel,
with the Hellcats. I mean, they just Ram knows what they're doing with these 8-speeds, and Ford, I feel like, just nailed it on that 10-speed on that R.
Dude, it is so funny. I couldn't agree more. People don't realize this, but like I've probably driven over 100 Ford 10-speed transmissions, and the Raptor R 10-speed is so far light years smoother and more refined. I don't know if it's their transmission calibration or what they did with it, but it's the best shifting, smoothest feeling 10-speed, a Ford I've ever been
100%.
in. Super Duty, gas, diesel, all of them. It feels great.
Yep.
Let's see. So let's see. Next topic here. What do we got here? So Raptor versus RHO driving comparison. And by the way, guys, in the comments, we're going to get to you guys. We're just going to try to rock through some of these comments for you guys. And then we're going to start going through some of these comments. So don't feel we're going to leave you out. So Raptor versus RHO driving comparison. Love to get your thoughts on that.
Okay. So I don't want to hurt any Raptor feelings in here. And guys, I'm 100% the Raptor. If you're doing the off-road stuff on the weekend, I think Barry will agree with this. I mean, the small bump compliance, Barry's even said this to me, the small bump compliance in that Raptor and the little bumps, guys, the suspension is definitely above. I mean, it is a very capable off-road machine. Now, in that, and I'm going to use the analogy of, if you're pulling a big trailer, you need a 3/4 ton, you need a 1 ton, what do you need? And I guess that's the question you have to ask yourself is, if you're out doing off-road or you're doing trails or you're doing stuff, I think it's more the Raptor for me, right? The Raptor's a little bit more bouncy. It's a little bit more cushion. But the downside to that for me is when I'm running 85 down the highway or 80, 85, speed limits in Texas are high. And the body roll, okay, so if I'm going off road, I'm gonna choose a Raptor. But if I want that sports car feeling, like a tight steering, like on rails, planted, and I'm gonna go around a 30-degree turn at high speed, this is the choice. And so you really have to know if you're gonna do, what you're buying it for. If you're buying it for true off-road stuff and you're gonna go do off-road stuff, I think that the Raptor is a little bit more premium for that. But if you are 80% road and you're looking for a great ride and you're looking for good fuel efficiency and all those things, this is my choice here. And that's my 30,000-foot view on it, y'all. But the hands-free driving and the massage seats that are offered in this for the price point,
Yeah,
that's why I can't get away from it. And if you've experienced the hands-free
yeah,
driving in this, and I've said it in my videos, it doesn't require you to wiggle the wheel.
yeah,
Like in the Ford, you got to wiggle it. If you got lane
that's
assist
it.
on, and it'll kind of move back and forth. This, if the camera, if you're not in a mapped area, if you're in a place where the cameras, if you're just on the highway where it's not mapped out here, as long as my hand's sitting on the wheel, it stays dead in the center of the lane, takes the curves. I mean, does everything perfect.
Yep.
And then when you get to hands free, I get to Houston, get on I-10, it's all the way to Florida. You sit back and that thing, it confident. I mean, a little bit better than the GM, because we have the GM Super Cruise on the other vehicle. And I've been very impressed with the hands-free driving on this truck.
Yeah, I agree, man. I don't really have any complaints per se of my RHO driving handling. I would just say our roads in Michigan, especially this time of the year right now, we've got expansion joints. Our roads are always not great, but right now it's especially bad. On that small bump compliance, it seems like the Fox suspension on the Ford seems to absorb it better. But the downside I've noticed on our roads, and I don't know if this is because the RHO is all-wheel drive. I don't know if it's because the RHO is heavier than the Ford, but I noticed even in my Raptor R, you hit the expansion joints on the highway and you'll feel the rear end kind of do that little scoot. It kind of kicks out a little bit. And I've noticed that the body roll, the brake dive, the Ford, it's more pronounced. Off-road, I think that the Raptor suspension is a little more capable. It's larger diameter, Fox dual live valve versus Bilstein, both awesome. But if you're never going to push it to the extreme off-road, I think the day-to-day livability of the RHO suspension, I'd probably prefer for my use, because the sport feeling on the road, I actually prefer more. I don't get that brake dive. I don't get the, I don't get to go around the corners, the wallowness. And the other thing that I've noticed is the RHO, I think it's valved stiffer, and that's why we feel the bumps more. But that comes and translates really, really well with towing. It's amazing how good this RHO tows. I'm telling you, even without airbags, it feels solid. Absolutely solid. I mean, I've towed 5,000 plus miles with an RHO already, maybe 8,000. I don't even remember, a lot. And it's the best towing half-ton truck I've ever had, hands down. And it's not from the power. The power is great. It's the stability. Yeah. But I'll tell you an area where I think the Ford I personally prefer more is the brake feel. I think the brakes felt a little better. The pedal feel, the Ram, you got to really kind of push down. The forward brake felt a little stronger to me personally. But if you look at the size of the brakes, I think the brakes are actually larger diameter on the Ram. I just think they designed. I think they just designed the pedal feel a little differently. But I don't know, man. I think that extra 600 pounds of the RHO being heavier, I think it pays off for traction, and we notice it right now. We got super cold weather here in Michigan. It's high of 15 degrees. We got snow, we got ice. Man, I was driving the Bronco Raptor today and the RHO, and in the snow and ice, this RHO is locked in with traction. I don't even have to put it in snow mode. It's just got so much traction, and I don't know if it's the weight, there's the weight combined with the suspension and tires, but it's a beast in the snow. I love it.
And what I'll say this, we went through Tennessee when they were having really bad storms on a road trip in the RHO. And y'all, even the stock tires, which I'm running the KM3s on here now, but the stock tires is what we made that road trip on. And y'all, where other cars are hydroplaning, like this thing was total control with the stock tires. I was very impressed, even coming from my Super Duties, from being in really bad rain and hydroplaning. Like, this truck was planted, and it felt really good to be that planted going through that big of a storm. And just like so it provides a little bit of a good experience. I guess that all-wheel drive and some of those things are providing that experience and that extra weight like you're talking about.
Yep. Aftermarket support. My opinion, Raptor's got a pretty big lead here just because it's been out for 3.5 generations of trucks. There's a huge following in the Raptor community, but it's coming with the RHO. You see companies like RPG Off-Road making the upper and lower control arms, and iBox got springs, and Airlift has got airbags front and rear. There's intake kits coming out just right around the corner. And I think the biggest thing that's going to really show people what this high output Hurricane engine is capable, as soon as they unlock this ECU, get ready. The people that were the haters on the high output Hurricane are going to turn. It's going to blow people's minds when you start seeing what these things have done. And if people haven't been following Torque and Tungsten, Morgan Evans with her Hurricane swapped old 1987 Ram truck, or John from Boosted Motorsports, both these people have been pushing 850 to 1100. I think it's like 850 to 1,000 wheel horsepower with a stock fuel system. People try to argue with me on this. Stock fuel system, 1,000 wheel horsepower. Yes, they're running race fuel, not E85. It doesn't have enough flow of that. Stock high pressure fuel system, stock injectors, stock pistons, stock internal. Engines never opened up, rings not gapped, anything. Can you do that on any other engine? Seriously, what other engine out right now, especially a 3-liter inline 6-cylinder? Can a Coyote go stock fuel system? Or could a Hellcat or an LS? I mean, I just think that's impressive, especially for a little tiny 6-cylinder.
Yeah. And, I think the power, and we'll talk about the aftermarket too. What I can't wait for is Taser, Z Automotive to come out with something, so we can calibrate our speedometers. Ram has this new architecture, their new system that nobody's really got into yet. And so you can't correct the speedometer. You can't, the triple horn honk, the things that we could program out of. And that's one thing I will say about the Ford with Forescan. Like, you can program your tire size, you can program things in and out. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that you can do on the Ford that is way more programmable, way more aftermarket accessories, stuff like that. So hopefully they come out with something on the Ram pretty soon. Because just those small things like correcting the speedometer is, something that people really want. So
I agree. So Walt Van Court, 5052. Sorry, my eyes are terrible sometimes. Desert race proven history, Raptor King since 2010 and always will be. Man, I completely agree. And honestly, this year was a really impressive year to me with what the Raptor did in the Baja 1000. Number one, I don't know if you guys looked, but the EcoBoost Raptor beat the Raptor R, number one. They had a breakdown on Raptor R. It finished the race, but the EcoBoost won. But I think the more impressive story on that, I don't know if you guys followed it, was what happened with the Bronco Raptor. I can't remember where, but they flipped the Bronco Raptor, rolled it. The front windshield was shattered, and part of the removable, I don't know if you're familiar with the Bronco Raptor. You can remove the roof. Yeah, I know you know, Bronco, because you've got one. But The windshield was messed up. They rolled this thing back over, ripped a fender flare off that was dangling on the side of it, kicked out the windshield, removed the roof, and finished the rest of the race with a flipped over Bronco, and it finished it. And they showed what the inside of this thing looked like, Bronco Raptor, and it was filled with mud. And I just thought that was like the coolest thing, like super credibility. And this is where Ford is serious about this thing competing in the Baja 1000. I'd be curious, you guys, how important is that for you, Raptor and RHO people? Do you think if you saw the RHO go through the Baja 1000 and finish it, maybe not win it, but go through it, or the TRX, would that impress you? Would it not impress you? Would it make a difference in your thought of the vehicle? Or do you not really care? I'd just be curious to get people's thoughts on that. I mean, what do you think, Rocky?
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what people say on it too. And I'll agree with Walt on that. I mean, what they're doing, and that truck is designed for the Baja. I mean, it is designed for the Baja. And I'm not going to say that the TRX or the RHO is not designed for the Baja, but for people like me that are 80% street, I mean, I like this confidence feel, a little bit less of the bouncy, and it's a preference. I mean, it's what you want to buy, and I'm just trying to tell you. You want that off-road capability. I'm not going to argue with him. The Raptor, I think, is by far that what you need. But
yeah, I agree. And I think it's like anything in life. Everything's about trade-offs. And I mean, for my off-road capability, I think the RHO is going to do everything I want to do that my Raptor R would do. I really do believe that. But the trade-off for me is, in a lot of the day-to-day, I actually like the RHO more than the Raptor R. But this brings me into a next segue. Least favorite thing about the RHO. That's an easy one. It's the exhaust. That's the very, very easy one. I'm glad that Stellantis chose to make it quiet. I'm glad about that, because on the highway, man, it's a great tow. It's a great truck for towing, and because you just don't hear the engine at all. Wide open throttle, it doesn't sound bad, but cold start, it's not my favorite sound. Moderate acceleration, it's not my favorite. I would like them to do some sort of exhaust like the EcoBoost with the valve. I think that'd be really cool if they made it where you could make it quiet or make it loud. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I'll take Barry on that least thing, the thing that I hate the most that you can't program out. And I've said it before. When you have the key fob in the truck, or you get out with the key fob in your pocket, the fact that it honks at you. GM has fixed it where you can turn that off in the screen. Ford has got it where you can turn that off, the key fob alert. Ram has that hard programmed in. You can't turn that off. In the past 2 Rams I've had, it's probably one of my most hated features, just because you're hooking the trailer up, you're getting out, you're shutting the door, or you come in late and you get out to open the gate and it honks at all the neighbors. I mean, it's just, that's probably my most hated feature about this truck. And I know it's a small thing, but I really wish they would make it like the other manufacturers where we could turn that feature off. But if that's the only thing I'm hating on this truck about, that
exactly. Well, and that's honestly what I look at is, even though maybe the sound is purely subjective. There's no objective one is better than the other. It's just what you like, but it's not right or wrong. It's just different. And Americans generally like the sound of a V8 more. But the RHO does not sound bad. It just doesn't sound like what most people are accustomed to. But for day-to-day drivability, I will actually take the RHO exhaust sound. This will blow people's minds over a Raptor R or a TRX, because I'll go drive 3 to 6 hours on the highway and I don't want to hear a V8 screaming for 6 to 8 hours straight. I want it quiet and chill. And that's what I like about this.
Now, Ram did a partnership this year with MagnaFlow, right? And so you can actually, if you order the truck, you can order it with the MagnaFlow. Now, it's a dealer installed item, so basically the truck ships with the stock exhaust. But if you pay for it on the build sheet, they ship it to the dealer, then they put the MagnaFlow on. I think the MagnaFlow has a little bit of a deeper tone, if you're looking for that, but I think you do have a little bit of drone at the, at the higher end.
Ram Rhino does all better. It's not even close. With the same money spent, you could have 1,000 horsepower Hurricane Rhino that looks way better, and an old daily driver work truck. 100%, man. This is why Rocky and I, it's like, and this brings, I guess this is a good segue right here, and we'll skip away from this least favorite things, is real pricing versus the RHO, the Raptor versus RHO. I mean, it's a real thing, and people don't realize this. You know, when you look at a Raptor R, you're not going to pay MSRP for a Raptor R. You're going to pay 116 grand plus probably a 10 grand over. You're going to be at 126,000 bucks for an RHO, where you can go get a level 1 with massaging and heated seats, carbon fiber interior RHO, something like this for 87 grand. And realistically, if you order one from the good dealers, you're probably going to get this for like 77 grand. So you're talking 77 grand or 127 grand. That's $50,000 less. It's a lot of money difference.
And I think the R2, it's one of those things that, you know, you buy it and it's like, how is it going to hold its value? What's MMR going to do to it, right? Over a year, you know, for people like us that buy a truck for a year and we drive it, you know, 6 months to a year, how is that going to do? And so far they've held up really well. So I'm not complaining about it, but you know, when does that start to taper off, right? Does the TRX going to affect that? You know, when they're coming out with a cheaper V8 truck that has all these features, you know, who knows? I think the Raptors are still going to hold their value. I think they'll still, but will they drop some? I think there might be some effect, but y'all, I basically drove mine for free
same.
You know, I drove it for probably 3 months, put almost 5,000 miles on it, something like that. And, you know, it was almost free. I literally got right back out of it and, you know, jumped right back in the RHO
and see, that's a big deal you have to consider with the Raptors. Generally speaking, their resale has been awesome forever. So that's a big deal. And I hope RHO does the same thing. Here's a comment. So the RHO doesn't have 2-wheel drive. How is the drivability 4-wheel drive all the time as a daily driver? Just wondering, since I don't usually drive in 4-wheel drive. So first off, you are right. And I wish it had 2-wheel drive. This is another thing I would love to see it go into 2-wheel drive. But it's technically not 4-wheel drive. It's 4-wheel auto. There's actually a difference, because 4-wheel drive means you're mechanically locked from front to rear, and you are fully locked front to rear axles. 4 auto is a clutch in between, and it allows a little differential between the two. Honestly, I've never driven a TRX in 2-wheel drive or had a Taser or something like that. I don't know how to compare. I can't tell the difference really as far as daily. I mean, I've had it now between 2 RHOs. I think I've done 16,000 miles, and I don't see any issues with the day-to-day. I'll tell you one thing I really like about 4-wheel auto all the time. There's a bunch of times where I will either be pulling a trailer out or in an uneven grass or some wet ground or on some hunting property in a field. I never have to think about traction. I always have traction. I don't have to put it in 4 high because it's 4 auto all the time. And that's kind of a nice thing. I do kind of like that.
And that brings something up, Barry, I want to talk about too. I agree with the 4-wheel drive auto is something that, I mean, like I pulled out and it was raining today, and it's just nice knowing that like I can get in it when it's raining. It's not going to spin the back end. I mean, it's going to take off, just that all-wheel drive. And it's because your transfer case is completely different on a 4-wheel drive versus a 4-wheel drive auto. 4-wheel drive auto transfer case has its different clutches in it. It's a whole different design. Okay. You don't even know you're driving the all-wheel drive. Now I'm going to talk about the programming real quick because this is important, I feel like. So, you know, a lot of trucks, when you turn the key on, you turn the key off, it gives you different things, right? You have to go back to this and turn this on. And I will give this to the Raptor is if you put it in 4 auto, it stays in 4 auto. It does not reset itself and go back to 2-wheel drive. So that is really nice that you can put that Raptor in 4 auto, and it will, every ignition cycle you get in until you take it back out, it stays in. So that's a really cool feature. Now, the thing I don't like about some of the programming in the R is that I can't go in and set up an auto mode and set the suspension on Baja and you know, because that's the best ride, right? If you're going down the highway, you just put it in Baja and it rides really good. And then you can set the steering for what you want, like comfort, right? You have 3 settings on the steering. You can program the R button where you get in there and you have to push it every time.
Yeah.
But one of the things I didn't like about the programming on the Raptor is it doesn't let you customize those features and stay in it by default. And so if you take the Ram RHO right here behind me, you can go into auto mode And you can set suspension on Baja, steering on Sport. You can set the paddles on or off. You can set, and it every time you start the truck, it's in auto, and it will take those features by default and stay in those features for you, unless you
Yep.
make a change, you know. And you can actually customize every feature in on the screen from Baja to Rock Crawl or whatever. You can go in there and say, turn the paddles off, or I want sport steering in this mode. And
Yep.
so there's a little bit more programmability on the software side on the Ram versus the R.
I'm hoping too that we're going to see more ability to customize some things with the Ram and the Uconnect system. I think there's so much ability with software updates that we'll be able to do stuff in the future. Like as an example, one thing that drives me nuts with the Uconnect is it's cold out. I get in the vehicle. I'm not someone that likes just driving with heated seats on all the time or heated steering wheel. Basically, as soon as I'm warm, I want it off immediately. To turn it off, you got to go up and hit the one button. Okay, that brings up the display. Now you got to click your heated seat 3 times. Then you got to go down the steering wheel 3 times. I got to do 7 clicks on the screen while you're driving on the road and be accurate. I wish there was an easier way. And I know what someone's going to say, well, you can use the Hey Ram feature and you can do the voice thing. Yes, you can. But if you're on a phone call or you're on a work meeting, you can't. I wish there was a really easy button to like just have one button to hit and off. And I think there's so many ways to do these software updates where you could do little things like this. Here's another thing that I find interesting. Have you noticed when you set up your profile on your display where you've got your Sirius radio going, it won't show the station number you're on?
Why?
How hard is it just to add the number there? I think it's so silly.
Yeah.
These are like little, these are little things they could like, you know, do. All right. So I really hope Mopar Direct Connection releases performance mods. Guys, I heard it firsthand from Ram at the Detroit Auto Show. Things are coming for the Hurricane engine. They couldn't promise me a timing. They wouldn't give me specific specs, but I could read between the lines. There are some awesome things being worked on. And I'm starting to wonder if that Morgan and John are a test bed of things to come for this Hurricane engine. If that's the case, man, the Hellcat's sweet, but what could be coming with this Hurricane down the road could be just as sweet. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So, William, you bring up an awesome point. Ford CEO said they're going to increase the number of hybrid options, and I think Ford will bring a V8 hybrid. Toyota uses port and dual injection on hybrids, a 5.0 hybrid with direct injection. So I saw this announcement too. They're saying the next generation Raptor is going to be a hybrid. I could see them doing some sort of hybrid V8. And if they do this, it could be an awesome option. Mix that power boost solution, add 100 pound-foot of torque, add 100 horsepower. You could easily have 600 horsepower with a natural aspirated V8 and get good fuel economy. That could be an interesting option. But in full fairness, is it going to be more reliable than just a standard non-hybrid option, especially if you're using it off-road? I mean, I guess time will tell, but that could be a really interesting option.
And Barry, I think too, commenting on that is, you know, we talked about that that mid area of horsepower for that motor. You know, how the 3.5 EcoBoost took the R in the competition, right? I feel like it's just because it has that little bit of that mid area that's missing that power. And if they bring that power to the R, it's not the weight. It's just because you're either all in with the R and it's going, or your mid throttle just doesn't have it, to me. And I feel like if they bring that hybrid in and they bring that power in the mid, it's going to take that EcoBoost out.
I agree. Someone talking about what do we got here? Hey guys, the True Ford did some internal fixes on the 7.3 to improve oil flow. I haven't specifically heard about this. I know there were some changes I heard on the valve train. I heard there was some potential talk in a variable oil pump. I haven't heard of an issue on a 23 or newer 7.3. So maybe when they went to this new cam profile, because a lot of people don't realize the 23 and newer 7.3 actually makes a little bit different power curve than the first generation 7.3 gas engine. So I'm a huge fan of the 7.3 personally. I think it's an awesome engine for what it is.
I agree for the money to be able to go buy that truck for what it
Absolutely.
costs and to get a
Yep.
7.3 with the
Yep.
transmission behind it and the
Yep.
warranty. I mean, yeah, it's it's $30,000 almost, I think, cheaper
Yep.
than a diesel.
I agree. And when diesel prices being 40% more, at least here it is in Michigan. I don't know how it is down there in Texas, but diesel's like 40 cents a gallon more, 40% more than gas right now. Let's see. Come from the BMW world. What else do we got here? I could turn on my heated seats and steering wheel with one button. And steering wheel with one button. How do you do that? I'd like to know that because I have to hit 3 buttons to turn it on. Turning it on is never really the issue. For me, it's turning it off because you got to go in the menu once, or if you have it on your main display, you got to still have 6 clicks because you got 3 for if it defaults to the high, you got 3 to click it off and 3 in the steering wheel. But see, this is the kind of thing I think is super cool because this is another thing, Rocky, you were saying about your Raptor R you didn't care for. You said the heated steering wheel was not very warm in it versus the RHO.
Yeah, what's interesting is so if you basically have to use forescan and go into the SCCM module and you have to turn the temp up. I mean, it's like set at 91. You can't even hardly tell if it's on from stock. And it came out in that last update and it made a lot of people aggravated because, Ford pushed that over the air update. And if they were hotter, some of the 24s, then it turned them down to like the 91. You can go into the SCCM with forescan, you can turn it back up, but yeah, it just from default when I first got the truck, I was like, what is this even on? I thought it was broke,
Yeah.
but I do like that it has a button on the steering wheel to turn it on.
Yep. Here's the question, Rocky. Are you going to do it?
100%.
Are
And
you?
so I bought the R, I kind of want to do some content on it, wanted to enjoy it. We knew the TRX wasn't really coming. I bought the R to do that. And, when they announced January 1, and y'all noticed that's the day that I sold my R. They said the order banks were going to open and they were announcing the TRX. Y'all, I'm 100% in on the TRX. I love this platform. This is my favorite truck that I've driven in 10 years. I don't ever really keep a truck for 30,000 miles, y'all. The last RHO had right at 30,000 miles when I traded it in. My family and I took it on multiple road trips. And I guess I need to cover, I'm going to go ahead and cover some of the things that this truck differentiates it on a road trip, why I like it so much,
Sure.
I guess, real quick. And it's the hands-free driving, it's the massage seats. It's when people get in my truck, they're like, this is luxury. Where the
It
Ford
doesn't
feels a
feel
little
like a
more,
cheap
it
truck.
it feels a little more utility, and
Yeah.
it's just it's kind of what you're looking for there. But one of the big things, the back seats recline.
Yep.
My
And
daughter was
cooled
like,
second row
it
seats.
is so, yeah, they're heated and cooled in the back.
Yep.
My daughter was like, when we bought the Ford, she was like, I don't really like this back seat near as much. And one of the main reasons is like when you're in the front seat, you've got a fold down console. You can, or you've got your center console, you
Yeah.
can put your arm on. And my kids really we're going on a road trip. They love that. And having a full size console with the flip lid and 2 big cup holders back
Yes.
there in the back seat is superb by
Yeah.
all means. So the hands-free driving, the massage seats, the luxury feel, that's just me. And the value for the dollar. I mean,
Yep.
you can almost buy 2 RHOs for what
Yep.
maybe not both level
Yeah.
ones, but if you're buying a level 0, you could almost buy
Yeah.
2 of those for what you pay for an R.
Well, my thought all along was if I really get the itch for a V8 and I just gotta have supercharged and I want to go fast, okay, I'll keep the RHO and go get a 5.0 Whipple Coyote Mustang. And I
Mhm.
can build something like that and I'll have less than 50 grand into it and I'll have 800 horse at the wheels. So I could have a 5.0 Mustang supercharged and an RHO for the same price as a Raptor R.
Mhm. And the other day, we did a subscriber build on my channel, and we ordered a Destroyer Gray Durango Hellcat, right? And it came in, and of course I went and did a video on it when it came in, offloaded off the truck. But then I just did a loop on it, y'all, and that supercharger whine on that Hellcat is
Yep.
just it's something that if you've never experienced it when you drive that, I mean, at 19 or 20 miles an hour, when you hear that whine come in at 1800 RPM. The R
Yep.
is great, and even putting an S&B intake on it, you can amplify it a little bit. And you can pull the aluminum plates off the top, and it gets a little bit louder, but it just doesn't have that
Not
deep
like the
whine
TRX.
that you
Yeah.
get out of that Hellcat. You know, it's not,
Yep.
people can't hear that supercharger coming when you're driving, right? It's just it's something that really it hits for me. And so getting this platform, and you know, there's a lot of people that say, oh, they didn't upgrade the TRX. I'll cover that real quick. Okay, the RHO, because it has hands-free driving, that's what everybody loves about it. I mean, it drives like my 24 TRX or 21 TRX didn't drive like this truck drives. And it's got a different rack and pinion. The hands-free driving is different. And the
Yep.
next thing is, and you saw the engineers talk about this, but I don't know how many people caught on. These are Generation 2 Blackhawks on here.
Yep.
And they communicate 3 times faster than the Generation 1s. And so why everybody loves the drive and the ride on these is because it is not the same suspension. It is, you know, the old TRX did not have hands-free driving. So you're getting
Yep.
Gen 2 shocks, you're getting hands-free driving, you're getting massage seats. I mean, there's a list of these upgrades that you're getting if you compare a 21 TRX or 24 final edition to what you're going to get coming forward.
Yep. Totally agree. And it'll be interesting to see how much better the 27 TRX drives versus the 21 to 24 with all the suspension and steering changes. And I could be wrong. You guys, there's probably a bunch of people watching us right now that are experts at superchargers, but let's just say that Ram made more power with the same size supercharger, but a larger pulley. Let's just say that's what they're doing. Wouldn't you hear even more supercharger whine then?
That's correct. I have a
So
buddy
then,
that put the pulley on the Ford Raptor R, and it, of course, the whine is a little bit more.
so then
That,
the new one is going to be even
that's
louder,
correct.
which is awesome.
Mhm.
So if you want that, I think you're gonna dig that. So imagine, I keep thinking 10% more power, revised suspension, revised steering. I think the new one's gonna feel a lot lighter on its feet.
Yeah, and Barry, I want to say this too about the Ford, y'all. Now, this is something that Ford offers. You can go put a Whipple, y'all, and I think you're looking like 13 grand on a
Yep.
Ford, and you can have your Ford dealer install that with a full factory warranty and be over 900 horsepower. So I think, you know, if you're going to go the R route and you really want to hear that supercharger, and you
Yeah,
really,
just go that
you know,
route.
just go the route and put
Yeah.
that on there. I mean, and there's, you know, probably, I don't know, probably 1 out of 6 trucks on the road, somebody, you know, somebody paid for the Whipple. You're even seeing some used ones on the market that have the Whipple upgrade on
Yeah.
them, and that Ford offers that with a warranty. That's a pretty good upgrade, and I feel like that Whipple would have given it that more mid power that we're talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, so someone said, have you guys heard anything about a refresh and more horsepower? I wonder if they'll come with a base model to compare. So great question. My understanding was the 2027 F-150 was supposed to be the next generation F-150, not a refresh, a next gen, because technically the current truck that's out right now came out in 2021 with a mid-cycle action in 2024, which was a revised front fascia and very, you know, a few small upgrades with the interior trim, but it's really the same generation. 2027 was supposed to be a new generation because generally Ford came out with typically new generations every 6 years. That's kind of been their thing. I've heard it's now moved back to 2028. So we got, if that's the case, we got another year and a half or so before we start seeing information on what that 28 is. And I can't wait, honestly. Ford's got a big answer back, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do because I love Ford trucks, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do. excuse me, man. I'm telling you, dude, struggling to get over this.
I've heard the Gen 4 is going to be a beast. The
I
Gen
hope
4
so.
Raptor.
Like,
I feel like, and everything that I've even heard they're talking about 38s on them. So,
well, honestly, what I would love to see is let's go old school, Ford. Forget the whole chasing, like, you know, the horsepower wars. Dude, give me a 7.3 Raptor with 500 horsepower, naturally
yeah,
aspirated and
big block. Yeah.
reliable. Now we're talking. I don't need that, like, hey, I'm trying to bragging rights at the corner. I want that low end torque of a 7.3. Take that motor and make 500 horse, because that's what made the Gen 1 Raptor special. It was rowdy. It was raw and visceral, and a 7.3 would give you that perspective. And
That
so
7.3 sounds good.
it sounds great, man. It's old school. It sounds like an LS. It's cool.
Mhm.
Here, I've had my RHO since April. Co-worker just picked up his last weekend. I'm really excited for him. I know he's going to love it. He's the second guy. Dude, I love mine, man. I think it's no issues.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of the best everyday driving trucks
Yes.
to me for the value and the price of what you can buy these for. I just really don't. I don't know what else you're going to go get that's going to give you the capability, the efficiency, and the pricing, everything that you get.
Yep. Ford is updating the 2027 F-150 platform. Probably going to have 2 hybrid, maybe a base 3.3 hybrid that's in the Explorer options and a Lightning Plus, and that would be interesting. That would be interesting to see, like if they do an E-Rev type of design, like what the Rev is going to be for the Ram, and then turn that into an off-road truck. It could have a lot of performance. That's going to be an interesting thing. I think we're going to see coming in the future, like with the Rev, and others are going to be making these range extended EVs. I think that's going to be a really cool thing for people that want that, for sure. Yep. Well, guys, I'm trying to think. You shoot some questions across. We kind of wanted to cover a lot of the topics. You know, this is from someone that both Rocky and I had Raptors. I've had every generation F-150 Raptor. I've got a Gen 1 now and a Bronco Raptor. I love them. I think they're awesome. They're special. I mean, for me, what it was around 2008. I was working in the automotive industry, and when I saw some stuff come across my desk about a truck that you might be able to jump from the factory, I'm like, tell me more. This is cool. And it was at that moment when I'm like, man, I feel like I'm a kid when you're playing with your Hot Wheels and you could like jump trucks. And I'm like, a factory truck that could jump was just a home run. And here we are 16 years later, and people are still crazy about these. And Ram came out with it. It looks like Toyota might be coming out with something. I say bring it. I hope General Motors does it, because the more people do this, it's going to raise the game for everybody. We're all going to get better products. Prices should come down if there's more competition in the space. And, you know, from Rocky and me, Rocky, you got what? Over 30,000 miles in a Hurricane engine now? Is that right? I'm at 16,000 miles. I think Tim Esterall, I think he told me he's like 16,000 miles. I've got at least 5 to 10 other people I know with not high output Hurricane standard outputs, 20, 30, 40,000 miles. I'm yet to hear of a Ram Hurricane engine go down. I've heard of battery issues. I've heard of wire harness issues. I've heard of cats melting on some of the early 25s. And I've heard of, what was the other issue we heard of? Oh, Uconnect. Some people are having Uconnect issues. I've not heard a Hurricane engine or a transmission issue, though.
Yeah, I'm 1,700 miles on this one already, and it's what?
Wow.
Couple weeks old.
Holy cow. Yeah, you're covering ground. You're catching up with me, man.
It's it's getting there. It's probably going to have, by the time TRX gets here, and y'all, I think TRX, we're probably looking at, truthfully, August. We talked about this. It's going to be August, October, you know, so this truck's going to have a good 15, 20,000 miles by the time that TRX.
We should put a bet on that. We should put a bet. See, I think it's going to be November. I think it'll be November, December.
I think you're going to be close. We might get lucky and get one of the first ones shipped out, maybe by August. We'll see.
Do you want the first one though?
Man, I got one of the first ones in 21. I wasn't complaining about it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I definitely would take one.
I'm excited to start, once they start releasing some of these upgrades they did to the new Hellcat. It sounds they're being very secretive about this, and that's cool. And if you guys haven't seen Rocky Road's channel, I put his link up above. He's got some awesome stuff. Great guy. We try to do this G4 thing and just bring you guys different perspectives. I was actually at the Ram booth last week doing a video with these guys, and I actually got to see the TRX that jumped over Tim Kuniskis. I didn't believe it. First off, when I saw that jump, I'm like, oh, this is movie magic. That's fun. That was actually real. And they actually had to do a lot of takes on this. And what's funny about it is it sounds like they damaged the bumper a little bit, but the truck in general held up. And the guys at Ram were telling me, they're like, yeah, man, the last time we moved the truck, a pile of sand dropped from underneath the truck at the LA Auto Show. And I'm just thinking, oh, they're just trying to sell me on the idea. No joke. I opened the hood of that TRX and you could see sand all over underneath the hood. And so they've only
Yeah.
got a few of these trucks right now, but it is real. That was the legit truck. I crawled underneath it. You could see scuffs underneath the skid plates, and that was the legit
cool.
truck they used to jump over him.
Yeah, that's
So
cool.
it was cool. But I'm excited to see what happens, and I hope they take this engine, and I hope the stage kits finally come out, and maybe 777 will just be the start. Maybe we'll actually see an 850 900 horse kit. But in full honesty, as excited as I am for everybody in the TRX community, dude, I'm not done with this Hurricane. I think, to me, just because it's so different, we've never seen a domestic make a boosted 6-cylinder like this, a modern 2JZ or a B58. And I just think it's cool because it's so different. I think we're going to see, this is going to be an era of high horsepower 6-cylinder trucks. And it's not going to be an EcoBoost. I think we're going to see 700, 800, 900 horsepower in these RHOs in the future.
You know, over all the trucks that I've ever had, Barry, and this is funny because I go through a lot of them. We trade them in. I mean, we don't really get attached. You do the same thing. You buy a lot of trucks, right? When I walked away from it the first time, when I traded it back to the dealer, I regretted it. Like the first day, I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I kind of regret getting rid of my RHO. And, you know, when I walked away from it the second time, but it was time because it had 30,000 miles. I generally don't put that many miles on a truck. I do a lot of driving every year. Driving home in the R, even though all the R things were really awesome, I literally was thinking, like, I think I'm going to regret trading that one in. And here I am.
The Raptor R in?
Yeah, regret walking away from my RHO for the second time.
Yeah.
And, you know, here we are again. But bought another one, same truck.
Yep.
Starting over.
You know, I don't know. There's a name for this, and I don't know how to explain it because this was my perspective on the Raptor R. I'd wanted a Raptor R forever, and it's no knock on the Raptor R. I think it's an awesome truck.
I agree.
But it's the most expensive vehicle I've ever bought, and you have this super high expectations when you spend a ton of money.
I agree.
My truck was suffering with the hot start issue. I don't know if you had that issue on yours. Did it ever do that?
No, maybe once or twice.
Okay. If you're not familiar, guys, the hot start issue is where there's this random, I don't know how to explain it. It's when the motor's warm, you turn the engine off, and it started with the GT500 where you'd start it up and you'd hit the button and the engine would just be cranking over for like 5 seconds. It sounds like an old Cam Chevelle where you're trying to start this thing up and it finally start up. And I'm just like, what is going on here? I take it to the dealership and they're just like, well, did it start up? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, it's fine. You know, they just sometimes have an extended crank. And I'm like, well, what's the fix? Like, Ford knows about it. They just don't know how to fix it quite yet or something. So I've read about people changing fuel pumps and this, that, and the other. And some people says it fixes and some people says it's not. I don't know. I just know it's the most expensive truck I've ever had. And it's the only truck I've ever had that's had that issue. And it annoyed me.
One of the things I think that, and I said this too, is I think part of that is if you run it really hard and you shut it off immediately, that, you know, that supercharger's
vapor lock,
it just, all that heat builds in that supercharger with nowhere to go, right? And so if you don't let it idle for a few seconds before you shut it down, you don't let that supercharger cool back down, you know, it gets hot, and that hot air's in there, and, you know, you got probably 200-degree air, you know what I mean, that's just sitting in there. So when you go to crank it, that 200-degree air just won't ignite, right? So then it instantly floods it. And then it has to, you know what I mean? It kind of has to recoup from that. So what I always just let mine run for a few seconds after, you know, before you shut it down. And it was never really an issue, but it did do it once or twice. And I think it was just because I turned it off like right after it, not idling or just driving in town, but if you get in it and then you like immediately park it and shut it off, I think that was the problem. So
I know what I was going to ask, and we're waiting to the end on this. Temperatures the engine runs. Dude, that was one of the things on the Raptor R that blew me away. That sucker ran hot. Hottest engine oil I've ever seen of any vehicle I've ever owned. 240.
Sitting there at 239 and 240.
Yeah, crazy.
No, not towing anything.
Nothing.
Just running all the time. It's just a little hot for me. I can disagree with running your oil temp at 240. And y'all, that's not pushing. That's just driving it to town, driving around. And the thing is the orange on that temp gauge, it's literally right there at it all the time. And you're just like, if I put a trailer behind this thing, you know, is it is it gonna,
dude.
is that thermostat? And I think it's just the thermostat set that high, but I just don't know why they would do that.
It's funny, like I'm used to Fords, like people that are not used to a Ford and they jump into a Ford and they see transmission temps of 204 to 220,
225. Yeah. I
that'll
know.
blow their mind. You can get in a brand new Super Duty dually diesel, not towing a thing, and that trans will be at 210 degrees, and it
Yep.
immediately concerns people. I've been through so many of them. I'm used to that now, but the oil temp really threw me for a loop on that thing.
I agree.
That was something because it runs every bit of 40 to 50 degrees hotter than
I had to
than the
remove that. I
RHO.
had to remove that gauge from my screen. You can pick
Yeah,
the vacuum
gives
or
you
the boost.
anxiety.
Like I just couldn't.
Yeah,
It's something about watching that all the time, and I
yeah,
know it's normal, and they say
yeah.
it's normal, but the fact that it's literally right there at the orange all the time, I was just like, I don't want to look at that one anymore. We're gonna move it out. So I think I put the supercharger and the trans stamp up.
Exactly. Hey, while
Yep.
we're talking of temperatures, I wanted to share this with the people that are RHO people, and you might not have known this. I just did this 2 days ago, a little experiment. I read this online and I wanted to prove it for myself. When you keep your RHO in auto mode, the active grill shutters are shutting, and it raises your intake temps and your coolant temps for your water intercooler.
Mm-hmm.
I did a trick the other day. Someone said it worked, proved it does work. If you put your RHO in sport mode, it keeps the active grill shutters completely open. I watched my intercooler coolant temp and intake temps drop like 40 degrees almost immediately. You could just see both of them immediately come down. I mean,
Actually, I wonder if launch mode does the same thing.
it might. And I've heard Baja mode does it as well. But if you're looking for optimal performance, no surprise, sport mode would do that. But I had no idea on the active grill shutters. And it's almost got me thinking a lot of times when I'm towing, I now want to see what tow mode does. Because if tow mode doesn't do that, I wonder if I should start towing in sport mode to kind of keep those intake temps down. But,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went back to auto mode and I watched it go up like 40 degrees, hit back to sport mode, back down.
And right
So
back down.
sport mode, and this is another thing I love that Ram did this, especially for me off road. The Ram uses water over air intercooling. And I've noticed off road, it keeps my coolant or my air intake temps easily 30 to 50 degrees cooler than my Bronco Raptor or my Raptor or Raptor R. They get a lot hotter. And the thing is, guys, if you're looking for performance, air intake temps have a huge impact on the power. If you start hitting 150 plus degrees temperature, you could lose 50 to 100 horsepower. So the fact that Ram is doing on the RHO, the air over water for off-road performance, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say we talk about sport mode.
Yeah.
I don't care if you go drive the Raptor or you go drive the RHO and you're considering purchasing either one of them, sport mode.
Yeah.
You have to put that
Yes.
truck in sport mode. There is
Yes.
a huge difference in the throttle sensitivity.
100%.
There's a huge difference in the shifting. These
Yep.
trucks, I mean, they drive nice, but when you put them in sport mode, that's where they shine. And that's the Raptor and this truck behind me, y'all. So if you're gonna go test
Yep.
drive a Raptor or an RHO, put it in sport mode and then test drive it.
Yep. Hey, Dominic, thanks for the sub and like. Really appreciate it. Yeah, it's fun, guys. That's what Rocky and I do. We try to, and the rest of the guys in the G4, we just try to bring interesting insights. And, I love the TRX, think it's awesome. I love that Ram has the ability to do something different. Ford has Raptor R, but RHO and TRX are two completely different animals with the same body. This high output Hurricane is like nothing else out there. And for some people, they like it. Some people, they don't. I think it's phenomenal. I love the smoothness, the day-to-day. I mean, if I had enough money, I'd have a new TRX and an RHO, but I would not want to give up my RHO. I'd want to have both.
Yeah, and that's the difference. This RHO for road trips, like you said, there's no engine noise. That inline six is just the smoothest. I mean, there's no vibration.
Yes.
Nothing. I mean, it is the best road trip machine. And I mean, I think TRD John did a video. I think he got almost 20 miles per gallon out of his.
Hold up. Did you hear about this though? I should get him on here. I don't want to steal his thunder. It was an error. in his
Well,
mass
yeah, I did
airflow
watch his
sensor.
video. I did
Yeah.
watch his video, but he did do another mileage loop
Yes.
on that video, and he was still like 18 or something
Yeah.
above that. You know, I mean, for
Yep.
these trucks to be the size they are with
Yes.
35s and to run like they do and get that on the highway, I mean, yeah, I was seeing 18, 19, and you could check it at the pump running 75 on a 14-hour road trip.
Yeah.
So it's just
Dude,
crazy.
it's over 3 tons going down the road,
I
and
know
it's
it's
still,
crazy.
it's unbelievable. And people don't, the things that I feel like Ram did a really good job on, and I use my truck different than probably the average RHO owner. I'm towing a ton. The fact that they put a Dana 60 rear axle that would be the same axle that's on a Ram 2500 Cummins, dude, it's stiff, it's strong, it's good for towing, and I swear that helps with towing because you got more weight over the rear axle. But
Yep.
here's a good question right here. Looking to upgrade this summer. Man, great question, Nate. I actually made a video about this a few months ago. Thinking about a used TRX or a used RHO, what would you suggest? How reliable are you used TRXs? Used TRXs actually, from my experience, are pretty reliable, and I highly recommend check out my channel. I actually did an RHO versus TRX, a used TRX, high mileage used TRX video comparison. So a used RHO, you know, get a good one. Just make sure it's got a clean Carfax and, you know, it doesn't have a bunch of electrical gremlins.
I would just run the VIN at any service
Yeah.
department and see
Yeah.
any history. You know, I mean, if you're looking at one that's used, just run the VIN and see if it's been a problem or not. You know.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. I mean, unless you can get an awesome deal on a used RHO, which there's not a lot of them out there, you're almost better off to just go buy a brand new one and get it discounted. That's,
I agree with that. I mean, you're probably talking 2 or 3 grand difference from a new
yeah,
one to one that's got 20,000 miles on it. I mean, it's just
exactly.
what you just shop around and see what you can find because these trucks for what they cost. I mean, I think I only lost 3 or 4 grand on that truck that I put 30,000 miles on. I mean, it's just unreal how it held its
Yep.
value over that time and what I got for it, what I paid for it, and then what I got for it when I traded it in. Just
Yep.
unreal.
They're
And I want
total
to answer
value
I
good.
want to answer his TRX question. So if you're going to go look at the TRX, they do not drive to me as good as these RHOs and this
That's a
new
great point.
generation platform. Okay. You know, just a little bit more slack in the steering, you know, and they're they feel heavy in the front end. And that's what the
Mhm.
Ram engineer said when they talked about the new TRXs. It's going to handle and drive just like the RHO. You're not going to know any difference. They designed it that way. Okay. And so I feel like if you're looking at a used TRX, you should go drive a new RHO to kind of compare the two so that you have a real platform because I would not go back to a previous model TRX. Just wouldn't do it.
You
It's a
know,
different machine.
yeah, you're right. Even if it was reliable, it would still drive different. 100%. Yeah,
Mhm.
good point. And then here we go. CarMax 25 level 0 RHO for 70 grand. This is proof right here.
Yeah.
I go buy a brand new one.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can probably get your 10, 11 off of these things. You know,
Yep.
a level one's probably 84. I think a level one
80.
comes in at 84 base, right? That's no
We see.
sunroof.
We got right here. We are going to start over here. And let me pull this up for everybody to see. Yeah, let's see. Open. Yeah, so it starts, not one option selected. You're at 75.9, a level 0. And as soon as you jump to a level 1, it jumps you to, yeah, about 85,
80,
86 grand.
85, 86, right? And you don't add a
Yeah.
sunroof. If you don't add anything else,
Yep.
you know, that truck right there is going to bring you, you know, you're probably at least 10, 9 to 10 off of that. You know,
Yep.
some dealers going to be 5 to 7. The ones that are, you know, in the dealer's defense, these level one RHOs, y'all, they
Yep.
don't sit.
No.
They're gone. I mean,
Yes.
trying to locate one with my dealer when
Yep.
we were looking around, I mean, they literally had buyers on almost every one of them that we tried to locate within 100-mile range.
Yeah.
And the dealers are waiting to get one to trade. Like they're just the level ones are moving. And so,
Yeah.
you know, they are a little bit hard to get. And so that is driving the price up just a little bit on,
Agreed.
you know, 7 to 8 off maybe instead of 10 to 11. But if you shop the right dealer or if you place the order, then you can get that 10 to 11. But the inventory trucks are a little bit more. But I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, you're 84, you're looking at 73, 74 for a level one.
Yeah. And I mean, look at this, dude.
Why would you buy one for 70 at CarMax?
Within 100 miles of me, there's only 10 of these available, and that includes all options. That doesn't include, let's see if I can even select the level 1 package here.
And Ram doesn't even separate the sold orders.
Yeah.
So it's really probably half of that. When you're going off the Ram site, that's showing orders that are sold going to dealers also.
That's a good point. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if 7 of these 9 are already sold. You're right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point, because you know, I almost this summer thought about it. I'm like, well, maybe I'll maybe I'll just get a used in between I'll just get a used TRX, and I drove it and I liked it. It was cool. It was a good, reliable truck, but what they were selling for, I just couldn't wrap my mind around it. They were still bringing a lot of money.
Well, we have people on here just showing this interior just for a second. Y'all, I know it's dark in there.
Trying to make you bigger.
I know it's dark in there, but y'all, passenger screen, just the steering wheel feel on this one, the stitching, digital rearview mirror, massage seats. Sorry it's dark in here, y'all. Can't do any better than that, but you know, it's a really nice truck.
It's a beast. It's a beauty. You know, it's what's fun about this is I think, Rocky, you and I would both say we're not brand specific. We've owned a bunch of trucks. You and I, if anything, we're probably more Ford guys, realistically.
Yeah, HD. I'm a Ford guy all day long. I'm 100% fan.
Exactly. I can't wait to see what Ford answers back, because they got to, man. They got to clap back hard, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do, because Ford they've led this market forever, and I still think the Raptor is an awesome truck. It's nothing against the Raptor, because I love it, but they're going to have to do something to raise the game at this point, and I don't know what that answer is going to be.
You know, I think even if they just did a different tune and they got the 3.5 EcoBoost up to this 540, I think it would be a little bit more. You know, I think that 90 horsepower, is a pretty big difference.
Yeah, you know what? Horsepower is one thing. I still want the smoothness of the Hurricane. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That 3.5 EcoBoost is not this smooth. It's really not. This motor is just, it feels very premium.
Yep, I agree.
So, well, hey guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Rocky and I we'll probably do another video once we get a little further along, talking about some of these other new Ram trucks that are going to be coming out later this year. I saw a comment up above. I wanted to make sure I got to it. A question about, maybe someone mentioned it actually, the DC 650. I heard there's more information coming on, where's this at? I heard there's more information coming here on that DC 650, the one that the Fox Racing truck. And you know, it's funny. It's been a few months since I've seen that truck. I saw it at SEMA. Sorry, I couldn't find the comment, but I saw it at SEMA and I thought it was really awesome. But then seeing it again in Detroit last week, I was like, man, that is actually a really good looking truck. You know, it's a lot of money. It's technically, is it more money than the new TRX? I think it was more money.
I thought it was like in the 70, 80 range.
No, I thought it was like 100, 105. You know, now you got me wondering.
Maybe that was the all-wheel drive, because they did say that you can get it in two-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, which probably make a significant difference in the money. But I saw a comment from SRT or something today that I was reading that showed that they are going to have significantly more orders than they expected for that truck. And you think about it, I mean, Ford quit producing the Lightning, right? I mean, the Lightning was the top-selling truck for years. It was a street truck, you know, with a supercharged engine. Was it a 5.4 in the Lightning?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Yep. It was a 5.4 supercharged. Yep. Yeah. And I mean, that truck was a hot item. So you wonder if Ford's going to bring that truck back to compete, because they're going to, I mean, there's really not a high performance street truck out there.
Ford has the Lobo.
The Lobo.
But the Lobo is 60 grand. This is 94. But the Lobo it doesn't have a lot of like accessories on it. You know, it's basically just a 50 F-150 with a cloth interior.
Doesn't it come in just a single cab too?
No. It's a crew cab short bed.
Okay, you can get the Lobo.
It's technically I think they lowered it down a little bit. And it does have a unique fascia across the front. I have to give Fox I think this is a pretty sharp looking truck. It doesn't fit my needs. I need more ground clearance, but dude, this is a pretty sharp looking truck. This was the one that was at the auto show last week, but here you go, guys. So $94,430. Pretty sweet, but it's only $8 grand off from a TRX at that point. So I don't know. Maybe
But for
these
the
things
guy
are-
that's not off road, and then once that
yeah, that's
supercharger
true.
line, you know, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it's either that or a Durango. I mean, if you're going to take the Hellcat Avenue,
Yeah, for sure.
you know.
Yep, for sure. Very cool. Well, I'm excited for you to get your truck, and I hope it's here before August. That'd be great. And if you
We'll see
do,
what happens.
you got to get it up here to Michigan. We'll take it out to Silver Lake, and we'll line them up on the drag strip. I think you'd really enjoy that.
Man, you know, maybe if Ram's listening, I'd love to take delivery of it at the plant and drive it home and do a video on it. But you
Dude,
know,
that would be awesome.
who knows, you know? So
Yeah,
I
that
tried
would
to
be
send some
awesome.
emails, and you know, I'm sure they're just hitting the ignore button on me. But hey, one day it might happen.
Same with me. That's right. Well, hey guys, I appreciate everybody joining in. Feel free to leave comments. It's Rocky Road. We'll be doing more videos with us here soon. Thanks for tuning in, and feel free to leave comments after this. Will be up on the channel. See you, everybody.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all.